Yeah, you're welcome to stay at the ranch if you want.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Okay. Well, great. I look forward to seeing you. It's great to get together and goof off again.
Yeah.
Just have some good old fun.
Yep.
It was the first time Michael had sat for a portrait. Japanese tycoon Hiro Saiki wanted to buy it, and they said, "Give us $2 million."
We were surprised. He came back and he says, "Well, yeah, of course I want it." So we sold it. We said, "Okay, it's yours."
The painting was the result of a partnership between Jackson and Strong. Brett says Michael admired his sculptures, which include this statue of John Lennon. And now he has a new, somewhat racier portrait of Michael. Strong says Jackson posed for it at his Neverland ranch.
Michael!
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my gratitude to those responsible for the American Cinema Awards. I think David Guest, you're just fantastic. Thank you so much.
One man who wasn't up for a Grammy this year was Michael Jackson, but he did put in an appearance anyway on Tuesday morning when his record company threw a breakfast press conference for him to announce that he has now sold more than 110 million records.
The largest selling album in the history of recorded music. The two largest selling albums of the 1980s. The only album ever to produce 5 #1 singles.
I'm sure it won't surprise you that I'm going to make this one short again, but I'll have to say, however, that no album sells itself. It is up to the people out there to buy it. But I especially want to thank everyone, everywhere, who helped make this award what it is. First a possibility, and now a reality.
Welcome, Michael Jackson here. He's been named Artist of the Decade, and he has a tremendous following. He does good works, what we call the points of light concept, and I just wanted to bring him out here and officially welcome him to the White House once again. I'm glad you're here, sir. Very pleased you're here.
At the historic meeting of Showbiz and Big Biz, music's magic man and the Midas mogul ran the media gauntlet to open the world's glitziest casino. That fan hysteria reminded me of 1963 when I covered the Beatles' arrival in America. Donald Trump gave Michael Jackson a personal tour of his $1.2 billion extravaganza. And we were there every step of the way. If the Taj Mahal Casino is the 8th wonder of the world, on that day it seemed the beloved Glove one ranked 9th. 75,000 fans nearly swept away supermodel Elle Macpherson. But they didn't stop the casino take topping $2 million for the day.
Michael at the Taj Mahal, he's my friend, he's a tremendous talent, and it's really my honor. It's a big day for me.
Ryan White's life ended Sunday morning after a 5.5-year battle with AIDS.
Jackson heard about Ryan the same way everyone else did, through TV and newspapers.
Michael wanted to get there in time to see Ryan, but we did not think he would live past midnight, so therefore we didn't think Michael could get there in time. But it ended up Ryan lived till 7 in the morning, and Michael could have made it, and Michael really felt bad because he did not attempt and try to get there.
Get this around? Yeah, go ahead. Well, now we're gonna. Where are they? Where are the parents now? I'm sure they're at the house. Don't let them know. They must be at the house. Right.
Rebecca.
He wanted to see you. I think most people don't realize that he just didn't help Ryan White. He helped so many other kids too. And that's a quality of Michael, I think, that very few people know about because Michael doesn't seek out the publicity.
Sad news this week with the death of a teenager whose fight with AIDS touched many rock stars and the rest of America. Ryan White died this week 5 years after contracting AIDS from a transfusion. And friends like Elton John and Michael Jackson helped support Ryan in his own campaign to promote public awareness of the disease.
AIDS victim Ryan White was remembered during funeral services this afternoon at Second Presbyterian Church on North Meridian Street.
The mourners gathered, including a host of celebrities like Elton John, Phil Donahue, Michael Jackson, and First Lady Barbara Bush.
It was Ryan who first humanitized the disease called AIDS. He allowed us to see the boy who just wanted more than anything else to be like other children. He healed a wounded spirit in a world and made it whole.
It happened, to the best of my knowledge, it happened last evening when he was rehearsing at his home, and he maybe had some kind of little pass out, and when he woke up he called his physician, and he took him to the hospital.
The rock star was admitted last night after complaining of chest pains. The hospital kept a tight lid on Jackson's exact ailment, saying that he was in stable condition after a night of tests. Those tests include cardiac analysis, but the hospital ruled out a heart attack. There's no word on when Jackson will be released from the hospital.
His physician, Dr. Stephen Hofflin, states that he will be undergoing several diagnostic tests today. He was admitted to St. John's to our emergency department last night at approximately 9 p.m., complaining of chest discomfort.
Fans gathered outside St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica, California have been loyal, but have learned little about his condition.
Not a lot, just he's undergoing tests and they don't know what's wrong, so it's really worrisome to not know anything. We just don't know what to think.
One fan was arrested after going too far. A 42-year-old who uses the name Billie Jean Jackson was arrested for violating a restraining order mandating that she stay 500 feet away from the pop star. The 31-year-old singer-songwriter has been hard at work on his new album called Decade, and according to spokesman Bob Jones, Jackson was particularly distraught over the recent deaths of both his maternal grandmother and entertainer Sammy Davis Jr.
The pressure from the album, the pressure on impending engagements, etc., etc., etc. So there are a lot of pressures on him.
Of Michael Jackson hits called Decade may be put on hold. Sources inside the Jackson camp say the pop star has recorded so much new material that a studio album of new songs may be released instead. A spokesman for Jackson's record label will only say that something with Jackson's name on it will be released before the end of the year.
Michael Jackson's Moonwalker video game, only on the Genesis system by Sega.
Now he has teamed up with a leading video game company to devise the ultimate video game experience. And its star is Michael Jackson himself. Michael Jackson moves from music videos to both home and arcade videos with the introduction of the Sega video game Moonwalker. Jackson worked closely with Sega's Al Nilsson and was instrumental in the game's development.
Michael would go back and play the game and then call us up or talk to us and say, here are things that should be included, here's things that should be changed.
According to retailers, the shelves are loaded with these babies, but back-to-school shopping parents are shying away from purchase because, according to one shoe industry czar, They make kids wearing them look like junior Hell's Angels.
The primetime cartoon terror is now on the rise, however, with none other than Michael Jackson giving him a boost. Jackson has written a song titled "Do the Bart, Man," and he wants to record it as a duet with Bart. Simpsons creators have given the okay, and it should be in record stores by Christmas. But if it's a week or so late, don't have a cow.
Everybody, if you can do the Batman, shake your body, turn it out. If you can,
Stick it out, man.
to the side, as you can get. Everybody in the house, do the Batman. Everybody, if you can do the Batman, shake your body, turn it out.
Sources inside the Jackson camp say the pop star has recorded so much new material that a studio album of new songs may be released instead.
This week in Today newspaper, Michael Jackson's sister, LaToya.
Find out what life was really like behind the scenes with my glamorous family. And read the book they didn't want me to write. I don't hold anything back.
Garrett Glazer in today's Inside Story, there was continuing turmoil that pushed family members to the edge.
Not only me, a lot of my brothers and sisters have tried to commit suicide.
One of 9 children, she will not reveal any names, but this extraordinary suicide claim came during a long and emotional interview with LaToya Jackson about her controversial new book, Growing Up in the Jackson Family. In an obvious and stark contrast to 2300 Jackson Street, LaToya Jackson describes her entire family as dysfunctional. She says she hopes her brothers and sisters will come forward now to support her version of growing up in the Jackson family.
So we started working together, and I didn't have a date for the Academy Awards, and Michael was like, well, who are you going to go with? And I looked at him, I said, I don't know, you want to go? And he said, yeah, that'd be great.
And from Los Angeles, California, at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, it's the annual Academy Awards.
On Hollywood's hottest night, Michael Jackson stunned 76 million TV viewers by taking a very special date to the 1991 Academy Awards, Madonna. Viewers at home wondered how 2 of the most outrageous personalities in pop hooked up.
As you're driving in the limo and all that traffic, what do you talk about with Michael Jackson?
What do we talk about? Well, first I beg him not to wear sunglasses. Exchange powder puffs.
So you both look wonderful.
We both powder our noses and we compare bank accounts. I don't know.
Jackson's personal biographer, J. Randy Taraborelli, unleashing the magic, the madness, the whole story, answering questions about everything.
Inside of every man, woman, and child is a place where I feel that you can return to your childhood. You find grown-ups, you know, doing things they hadn't done since they were like 10 years old. Neverland is me, you know. It represents the totality of who I am. It really does. I love Neverland. Mac and I would go on vacation together, and Mac is very smart, and he's very ingenious in causing trouble.
But it's his idea.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna try this one.
And we were in Bermuda together, and we were signing water balloons. He had me signing water balloons. And he was throwing these balloons at the fans on the balcony. They loved it. They wanted more. They were asking for more.
But Max throwing it.
So I was signing these balloons, and he kept throwing them.
This balloon is autographed!
I'm signing them, he's throwing them, and that's what we did.
I'm ready, Hammer.
Michael, what are you doing?
I'm here to accept your challenge.
You kind of caught me in the middle of doing something here, Mike, you know, Saturday Night Live.
I'm ready right now.
He's amazing. I've never seen anything like that in my life. That guy can dance. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's no threat to us. What do you reckon, Mike?
I can't write a song. I'm only 10.
Only 10? When I was your age, I had 6 gold records.
Hey, Looney Tunes. This is what Michael Jackson looks like. You look like a big fat mental patient.
You'd be amazed how often I hear that.
It was actually wonderful. There were only about 160, 180 people. And it was very intimate, it was very family-oriented. And it was difficult to hear all the vows because of the helicopters.
As Michael walks from his trailer to his camera position, he's really charged with a kind of contained but tense anticipation for what he's about to do.
Ready all around, watch the cues, and playback.
It's an all-out song and dance video spectacular in 10 or 11 minutes that's taken more than 14 weeks to complete, from rehearsal hall beginnings to big-budget location shooting finish. From the looks of it, it could be one of the most expensive music videos ever made, although no one's really saying exactly how much this new Michael Jackson video is costing.
We want more wormy. More wormy. Can you grab your nuts some more?
See, no, I mean fun, not he's speaking dirty. You know, I don't do dirty. You know what I mean?
He means wormy, right?
No.
He doesn't mean wormy.
No,
he means
it's an expression. Okay, I know exactly.
He knows what you mean.
He's so dirty.
Excuse me, was I doing?
It's all in the mind. Yes.
Was I imagining that he was grabbing his knife?
How would you describe the way Michael has changed over those years?
Well, how that Michael has changed? He's taken a lot more control of his own life. And it's pretty clear to me that Mike makes his own decisions now. And how has he changed? He has a lot more pressure on him. I know that. There's a lot more jealousy.
On the eve of his long-awaited new video, a song of betrayal from his own brother, Jermaine. This was supposed to be Michael Jackson's month, the premiere of his most expensive video ever. But now he's been sabotaged by his big brother.
Once you were made, you changed your shape. Was your color wrong?
Radio stations are playing it every hour, back to back with Michael's new single, Black and White. Bitter Jermaine, second banana in the old Jackson 5. He criticizes Michael for everything, from lightening his skin to being plain weird.
Once you were made, you changed your shape.
With Michael's new billion-dollar deal on the line, it could be his most costly embarrassment yet. And with brothers like Jermaine, who needs LaToya?
When Michael became very successful, Jermaine was very hurt by it, and he didn't like it.
Michael's my brother, but I was angry. We're creative people. I couldn't get to him, so I put it in a song. You know, my frustrations, I put it into words.
An MTV world premiere, November 14th.
Monday night on the 9 Network, you'll get to see the new clip in full, Black or White. And Michael's new album out next Friday, Dangerous.
If you're sitting down, get up. It's time for the MTV world premiere of Michael Jackson's Black or White. Featured in the video are Macaulay Culkin, Bart Simpson, and the guitar work is provided by Slash from Guns N' Roses. So get on up. Here it is, the world premiere of Michael Jackson, Black or White.
Probably heard the uproar over the new Michael Jackson video.
This.
Which the pop world has waited for 4 years. The new Michael Jackson video is an event in itself.
Michael Jackson, I thought.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Says that it made a mistake in broadcasting the 11-minute Black or White video last night.
The international broadcast premiere of Black or White was immediately followed by uproar and condemnation. We played the short film for Elaine Blythe, president of the Film Advisory Board.
And all these kids in this film and the kids watching, look at the jeepers, I can't believe this.
Jackson says he was only trying to interpret the animalistic instincts of the panther into a dance.
In a statement released within the hour, Michael Jackson said, quote, "It upsets me to think that black or white
could influence any child or adult to destructive behavior," Jackson said, either sexual or violent.
I deeply regret any pain or hurt the final segment of
Black or White has caused children, their parents, or any other viewers.
Chill out, homeboy.
Some Jackson critics are saying this whole incident is a publicity stunt. 2 days ago, he was out with longtime friend Brooke Shields. This morning, Shields defended Jackson, saying he did not plan it.
He doesn't ever predetermine the way he's going to try to get something across, and with malice.
Michael Jackson, Dangerous.
Brilliant new album, Dangerous. From Michael Jackson. 76 minutes of great music.
News Michael Jackson's new album Dangerous arrived in record stores this week.
I don't know what to expect. I'm just going to buy it and see. Perhaps it'll be different.
Oh, I always buy Michael. Whatever he comes out with, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I think the people are feeling it, the recession a little more. We can only hope that this will, kick the industry in the butt a little and, get sales really strong again.
Look me in the face and tell me if you think I'm black or white. Am I black or white? You tell me. We don't know. Black or white? I don't know. Am I black or white? You tell me.
Maybe you can tell me. Am I black or white?
You're under arrest.
What? So I guess I am black.
Sure that it's safe for Michael.
Okay. Let me get back. I was burned because of this kind of stuff.
When you shoot with Michael, plenty of unexpected things happen, like a visit from his affectionate chimps during rehearsals, and the arrival of a very large statue honoring Michael's video music achievement.
We've made you this statue to show our appreciation for all you've done for music and MTV. And here it is, and it's rather large. Thank you very much. He has landed.
Michael. 5. Aerosmith. 4. Madonna. 3. R.E.M. And the king of pop, Michael Jackson.
Every year, MTV salutes one artist with their most prestigious award, the Video Vanguard, and it's in recognition of their outstanding contribution to the medium. This year, the award has been renamed the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard.
I never asked you to name an award after me, did I? Michael who?
In honor of Michael's decade of achievement.
Ladies and gentlemen, the king of pop, Michael Jackson, with his friend Slash.
This is camera, so give it your best.
And playback.
Do you remember, girl? On the phone, you and me. Till dawn, till 3. What about us, girl? Do it, do it, do it.
I'm there, and I don't want y'all to think that I'm running and I'm a punk because the mind didn't move from the bird. But it's two ways to react in a situation like that. You can run or be real still. And she's just being real still. But she's as horrified as I am.
I want to be entertained.
Try these 3 mega events from Michael Jackson and MTV. The world premiere of Michael's new video, Remember the Time.
Michael Jackson is to undertake a massive world tour this year to promote his Dangerous LP.
With some of the pomp and pageantry of a United Nations gathering, Michael Jackson descended to the lobby of New York's Radio City Music Hall to put his signature on a new sponsorship deal with Pepsi-Cola International. The head of Sony Music was on hand to commemorate what he said was Jackson's fastest-selling album, Dangerous, said to have sold 10 million copies worldwide. The last time Jackson appeared at one of these media events for this soda pop company, he said a grand total of 2 words, thank and you, in that order. This time, you could hardly shut him up, as he announced the formation of a new charity.
The only reason I am going on tour is to raise funds for the newly formed Heal the World, an international children's charity that I am spearheading to assist children and the ecology. My goal is to gross $100 million by Christmas 1993.
The superstar gave the kiss off to his U.S. fans by scheduling the start of his tour in England, with Eastern Europe, Latin America, and Asia to follow, and no plans, as of yet, for an American leg.
I'm looking forward to this tour because it will allow me to devote time to visiting children all around the world, as well as spread the message of global love in the hopes that others, too, will be moved to do their share to help heal the world.
Michael Jackson is one superstar whose every move becomes an event. Just a glimpse of his seldom-seen face puts fans in a frenzy. When Michael paid a visit to Africa a couple of weeks ago, the crowds went crazy.
The trip was fabulous. A little frightening at times when you get to a place and there are 125,000 people to greet you. We had never seen that kind of adulation, particularly when Michael's not performing. It was awesome. He was given the highest honor that any civilian other than a head of state received. He was made a king in Africa.
We're on location with Michael Jackson and Herb Ritz, who've come here to shoot the video for In the Closet, the next release from Jackson's Dangerous album.
It's a courtship dance between a guy and a girl. It's really about bringing Michael's energy
out in a new way. It all works, and he's going for it. You know, he's really going for it.
Michael is generating more heat than the desert sun in his sexiest video ever with supermodel Naomi Campbell.
I mean, they really do feel good with each other. You can tell when they're working.
Are you kissing Michael in this video?
No, but I want to kiss him. I may kiss him, but I mean, if I kiss him, I'm not going to kiss him for the screen.
Just open the door and you'll see. Just promise me whatever we say. For now, we'll make a vow to keep it in the closet.
I wanted to come to lunch because I believe each person can make a difference in the life of someone in need. That is what a point of light is. I'm very, very happy to be here. I love you all. Thank you very much.
I told him it was a touchy time because of the playoffs, and he said that basically he can work around my schedule.
Here we go, and roll, please.
I'm gonna get this sooner or later. I'm gonna get it. You watch. For the day, I get it.
Jackson's secret home and private life exposed.
His romps with the tiny children, the secret getaways with Liz Taylor, and the bizarre midnight escapades of Marlon Brando. All this lavish richness is designed for Michael's most cherished guests, the ones between the ages of 6 and 11.
Doesn't he seem like just an enormously sweet, talented guy who needs to hang around with some normal people? Michael, call me, we'll get the neighbors, we'll play some touch football, we'll cook some burgers, we'll watch The Simpsons.
Pepsi presents Michael Jackson, Dangerous World Tour.
Ladies and gentlemen, you now welcome the man who creates the magic, the king of pop, the world's greatest entertainer, Mr. Michael Jackson.
I have founded the Heal the World Foundation to be the voice of the voiceless. I want to tell the children of the world, you are all our children. Each one of you is my child, and I love you all.
Huge crowds are seeing the most enormous and technologically advanced concert production in history. It took 2 747 jets to transport the set and equipment across the Atlantic, and a crew of 235 people just to put it all together over here.
Michael Jackson has come out of seclusion to kick off his world tour in Munich. Over the next 3 months, he will perform in front of a total audience of 2 million Europeans. I'm in Munich for the first day of Michael Jackson's world tour, Dangerous. It's taken months to prepare for the most expensive and complicated rock show ever. Jacko will be on in a minute, and we've got the Michael Jackson special featuring numbers from the show tonight.
From Munich, Fox presents the world's greatest entertainer, live in concert. Plus, a look at his latest music film. Featuring Michael Jordan. You've got a front row seat for Michael Jackson, The Dangerous Tour. Coming up next on Fox.
Damn, you want to get Damn, you want to get this.
Nation to nation, all the world must come together. Face the problems that we see, then make somehow we can work it out.
After the gig, Jacko held a small party with amusements costing £250,000 for the world's press to eat, drink and pass comment on the show. Most of the time, Jacko watched the extravaganza from afar, but he did make a brief appearance at the start of the party.
Thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you.
Und nur der schon mal erlebt hat, weiß, was das für ein Erlebnis. So standen die Fans Tag und Nacht vor seinem Hotel. Und wilde Gerüchte machten die Runde, was sich darin wohl alles abspielen würde.
Change of energy. Once he hits the stage, the energy just rises. You know, we all had great energy while we were rehearsing, but once he joined us, it's just kind of a magical aura about it.
It called him a hideously disfigured phantom whose face was covered in scar tissue. It also said he had an extra hole in his nose. The Mirror stood its ground, replying to the suit by running another story saying, "Face up to it, Michael." It also invited Jackson to prove the photographs were doctored.
And finally left the hospital in a hurry. Preparations were underway today for the first concert, which starts tomorrow night.
His Bad tour broke box office records, and now at Wembley Stadium on the outskirts of London, Michael Jackson was ready for more. After not merely greeting Prince Charles, but presenting him with a $350,000 check for his Princess Trust charity, the superstar gave Entertainment Tonight an exclusive tour from dressing room to stage. As he crept through the corridors and along a private tunnel leading to the arena, Jackson seemed to have fun guiding our camera alongside him, and then it was time to let the 72,000 other fans get a look. Of course, the fans are always the object of Michael's attentions, and they think he delivers too.
Awesome! Awesome! Fantastic! Absolutely brilliant!
Well done, Michael! I love you! Jackson's visit was also marred by the 11th hour cancellation of his show at the Wembley Stadium. 72,000 fans, many of whom had come from abroad, were forced to stream away, bitter and frustrated. Some of the fans came to the singer's hotel to express their anger. Others were more concerned about his health.
If he's sick, he's sick. He's a human being. He's a human being. And if he's sick, he's just sick. I have to go to work when I have a sore throat, so, you know, I mean, he's just like, everything seems to have gone wrong for him at the moment.
And I'm sure there's a whole lot of other people I can't remember right now. Oh yeah, this has nothing to do with Michael Jackson. Thank you.
The world's biggest selling recording artist ever, Michael Jackson. Dangerous.
His singing, his dancing. Now he's stirring our senses like never before with two dangerously seductive scents. Mystique de Michael Jackson for women. Légende de Michael Jackson for men. Too dangerous to be sold in any store. These exclusive scents are available for the very first time, only through this special offer.
The King of Pop is in Bucharest to perform his Dangerous Tour concert, which will be broadcast on HBO on October 10th.
Michael, thank you for doing this. Oh, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Michael is determined to attack huge problems: hunger, poverty, disease, with his talent and the force of his commitment.
Today we are in the midst of a historic occasion, a phased transition in civilization, as we take on the momentous task of healing the world.
Heal the World has supported programs in 21 countries providing ambulances, vaccines, toys, and supplies to children's hospitals, arranged for children with disabilities and terminal illnesses to visit backstage at Michael's concerts and at his Neverland Valley Ranch.
In November 1992, Jackson helped supervise the loading of 43 tons of medication, blankets, and winter clothes destined for Sarajevo.
Today, we come bearing gifts for the children of war-torn Sarajevo. In 1992, Sarajevo has become a symbol of so much that is tragic but avoidable in our world.
I reach out my hand to you. I have faith in all you do.
Just call my name and I'll be there. Yeah. Just let me fill your heart with joy and laughter. Togetherness, it's all I'm after. Whenever you need me, I'll be there. Oh. I'll be there. Will you be there for me and carry on to
it's Michael Jackson who sets fire to me. Congratulations, Mr. Jackson. You are the entertainer of the year. On behalf of all the children of the world, we love you.
I love you too. There are two things which the NAACP stands for, which are the most important things in my life: freedom and equality. I accept this award on behalf of the world's healing, when all our brothers and sisters will be as free and equal as we are today. I love you so much, and I'm very honored, and thank you for this award. Thank you so much.
See how embarrassed I was?
How were you?
I always do. I don't know why.
Can I have your autograph?
Of course.
Oh.
I don't have a pen. Here, I got it.
When President-elect Clinton was planning the inaugural festivities, the buzzword he used was diversity. Dozens of performers from all facets of the entertainment world were selected for this event.
We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. We're saving our own lives. If we make a better day,
It's been an exciting but an exhausting 4 days, and it's all come down to this final evening. And they bundled up against the cold temperatures and headed across town in a motorcade to Capitol Center for the presidential gala.
My friend Ryan was a very bright, very brave, and very normal young man who never wanted to be a symbol or a spokesperson for a deadly disease. Over the years, I've shared many silly, happy, and painful moments with Ryan. And I was with him at the end of his brief but eventful journey. He died shortly after turning 18, the very time most young people are beginning to explore life's wonderful possibilities.
The 20th Annual American Music Awards.
Michael Jackson!
Michael Jackson!
Hey, 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 remember the time, Michael Jackson!
Thank you very much. I love you up there.
Besides being a friend of tonight's honoree, I'm also his greatest fan. I'm also very aware of the enormous accomplishments that make him the logical recipient of this prestigious award.
The American Music Awards presents its first International Artist Award to Michael Jackson. In addition, the American Music Awards are proud to announce that when the award is given in the future, it'll be known as the Michael Jackson International Artist Awards. So, congratulations, Michael.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Jackson.
What a wonderful loving night. What did it mean to you that Elizabeth Taylor came out for you?
No interview.
Gene, he's just gonna walk with you. He's gonna walk with you, Gene. He's gonna walk with you.
Superstar Michael Jackson walked into flashing lights and an eager crowd. Beside him, Los Angeles school children. Just a handful of the more than 3,500 who will perform with him. While Jackson may be the headline act for the halftime show, it is these children who will reap the benefits.
We must join together to make this world a better place for each of them. Heal LA is only our first step in making things better.
Michael Jackson has sold more than 100 million records in the last 10 years. But in one short halftime performance, he hopes to spread his message of Heal the World to 1 billion people.
3, 2, 1, track.
You have to remember, Michael was a gigantic star, so offering him the Super Bowl was not, oh my God, I've got to do that. But when I explained it to him, this will be a platform for you to reach more people than anything else that you could do.
Michael had done so many things that had broken barriers, broken expectations, rewritten the rules, and his Super Bowl performance was really extraordinary. That was the thing that moved the halftime show to a different level. And that's, you know, that's what it was to be Michael Jackson.
You couldn't hear in the stadium because all you heard were fans screaming and yelling and going crazy. He created this spectacular show. The halftime performance actually beat out the rating of the game, which had never happened before. It was an extraordinary success.
When Michael opens his home to lights, cameras, and Oprah.
Join me when Michael Jackson opens his home and his heart to the world. This is going to be live.
Michael Jackson talks to Oprah.
He's dangerous, and he is a thriller. Tonight, I'm interviewing Michael Jackson, who is speaking publicly for the first time in many, many years. Everybody keeps asking me, this morning I left my building, and the guys were working on the building, and they said, "Hey, Oprah, when are you going to talk to Michael?" I said, "Tonight, live. It's live."
Hi, Oprah. I'd like you to ask Michael Jackson, does he have a girlfriend?
Does Michael Jackson ever intend on having any of his own children?
When is he gonna get married?
How does he feel about his young sister's success, Janet Jackson?
I'd like you to ask Michael who his inspiration is.
What prevents him from getting back in touch with his family?
Where Michael Jackson eats and sleeps and lives is quite simply a beautiful home. There is a library here filled with leather-bound classics and artwork on the walls. Not at all what we thought we'd find. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Jackson.
As expected, it was filled with bombshells. Jackson tells a sad tale of abuse by his father and utter loneliness throughout his childhood. While millions of fans supported him, Jackson says his private world was filled with sorrow and tears. And even more painful, he says, are the rumors circulating about him now, especially allegations that he actually bleaches his skin.
I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help, okay? But when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
I don't know. Jackson admitted to only minimal plastic surgery and angrily denied reports that he wanted a white boy to play him in a commercial.
Vitiligo. It's a skin disease that affects only about 1 or 2% of the entire population, black and white. And according to Mr. Jackson, that's the reason he now appears so pale. I actually felt sort of sorry for him. Randy, was that the intent of his appearance, do you think?
I don't know if that was the intent, but it certainly was the effect that it had on a lot of people. A lot of people feel much more sympathetic to Michael Jackson now that he has done that interview and sort of bared his soul in many ways to Oprah in front of a national audience.
Now I'm very happy to present the Grammy Legend Award for 1993 to my big brother, Michael Jackson.
In the past month, I've gone from where is he to here he is again. But I must confess, it feels good to be thought of as a person, not as a personality. I don't read all the things written about me. I wasn't aware that the world thought I was so weird and bizarre.
The distance that got between the audience and Michael, where the audience got to the point where it was like, well, God damn it, we want an explanation. That's the way it was. He had to come out and give an explanation. Yeah. And then when he came out and talked to everybody, everybody was like, oh, he's really not that strange. Michael sang on, we did a duet together on a song called What's Up With You. And that's the next single. And it's me, Michael, and the Harlem Boys Choir. It's us, me and Michael in the sky and the clouds with hearts and doves and the kids floating around, lots of special effects. Very psychedelic. Right.
Please welcome the recipient of the 1993 Humanitarian of the Year Award, my friend, Mr. Michael Jackson. Michael! You can't just come out like that and not tell us what happened. I mean,
I was dancing, and I went into a spin, and I twisted my ankle very badly.
The World Music Awards have been held here in Monte Carlo for the past 4 years. The spectacular scenery, the romance of the Mediterranean, and the mystique of royalty makes this award ceremony something really different.
Ladies and gentlemen, the king of pop, Mr. Michael Jackson.
As official host of the World Music Awards, His Serene Highness Prince Albert of Monaco not only introduced multiple award winner Jackson, he found himself in the unusual role of royal attendant.
It means a lot to me, for I sincerely believe that through music, could you hold this for me? Would you? I'm sorry.
In the midst of all this, Michael Jackson was involved in a bizarre incident at the end of the show. An overeager fan planted a kiss on Michael's cheek, and they both slipped to the ground. The fan was rushed off stage.
No, I'm sorry.
Get him out. Don't do it. Take him downstairs.
No, I'm sorry.
Welcome back to MTV's Weekend at Neverland Valley Ranch. I'm John Norris, and as promised, the man whose vision created this place, Michael Jackson. Thank you so much for having us here this weekend, Michael. Thank you.
I'm delighted to welcome Michael Joseph Jackson.
What do you think, Michael?
Honor. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch.
Jackson's lawyer says the investigation will prove the singer did nothing wrong. Jackson promised Tuesday to continue with the Asian tour he just began in Bangkok, but illness forced him to postpone Wednesday's performance. While the case has made tabloid headlines worldwide, few concrete details have emerged. The boy involved in the case is at the center of a custody suit in Los Angeles. His father, a Beverly Hills dentist, is seeking in court to keep him away from Jackson.
At Michael Jackson's hotel this morning, flowers, gifts and get well messages poured in, but soon came the announcement that the beleaguered singer had postponed his Bangkok show yet again.
I'm sorry for not performing yesterday, as I am really sick and still under medical treatment. I have been instructed by my doctor not to perform before Friday, August 27, 1993.
But to what extent Michael Jackson's absence from the stage is due to the scandal that now surrounds him is unclear. He's due to perform concerts around the world in the coming months.
Police, however, are still not commenting on the investigation. Meanwhile, a second family claiming to be friends with the entertainer was introduced to CNN late Thursday by an associate of Jackson's. As with 11-year-old Brett Barnes, interviewed Wednesday by CNN, Joy Robson and her two children say they frequently stayed at Jackson's Santa Barbara County ranch, and that 10-year-old Wade had slumber parties with Jackson, sleeping with him in the same bed.
Yeah, you know, there's been different times where it just be me and Michael. Then there'll be other times where he has other friends over too. That's what, like what Brett said, it's just a slumber party.
Superstar Martin returned to the stage in Thailand after canceling 2 earlier shows, reportedly because of dehydration. The pop star is under a sex abuse investigation involving a 13-year-old boy. But locally, many fans are skeptical.
They're just trying to destroy his character, I think. Make him look bad.
Michael lives in a fantasy world, so maybe he did do something and thinks that he's untouchable.
They know he's popular, he got a lot of money. Ain't nothing but a big fad or something.
Michael Jackson's birthday concert followed renewed pledges of support from show business friends and family. Jackson has spent much of his 35th birthday in the privacy of Raffles Hotel, being comforted by his close friend, the actress Elizabeth Taylor.
Michael is one of my best friends in the whole world, and I can't think of any worse thing a human being could go through than what he's going through now. I believe in Michael's integrity, his love and respect of children. I know it will all come out all right, but he's here all alone, and he's going through a terrible time, and I just wanted to be with him.
So tonight, growing fears over Michael Jackson's fragile health.
Is that your breakfast?
Yeah.
That's all you want to eat? Okay.
Michael's family immediately rallied around him and called their own press conference to show their support. They were adamant that the allegations were nothing more than a cruel and obvious attempt to take advantage of Michael's fame and wealth. Their belief was backed up by a taped telephone conversation in which the child in question's father declared his intention to win big time and destroy Michael.
This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief. He will not believe it. He will not believe what's going to happen. Beyond his worst nightmares. Sell one more record. If I go through with this, I win big time. I will get everything I want.
What do you think of just the uproar over it? Like this?
I think it's ridiculous. We need a story. A story. The press needs a story. Doesn't matter what the story is. It's a story. Why don't you ask Latoya? This starving child.
Latoya, what do you think of Latoya?
But basically, Latoya, you're drawing your own conclusion that Michael abused young men, young boys.
No, I'm not drawing my own conclusion that he abused young boys. Let me ask you a question. What 35-year-old man do you know that sleeps with little boys and stays with them for a week or 2 weeks or whatever?
Mr. Jackson, do you have anything to say about the allegations? Mr. Jackson, do you want to say anything to your fans?
He's accused him of sexual battery, willful misconduct, and the deliberate infliction of emotional stress. Los Angeles police say there's insufficient evidence to lay formal charges. Michael Jackson, who's in Moscow as part of his world tour, has consistently denied the claims.
Michael Jackson's Russian fans seem unperturbed by the civil lawsuit now being brought against their hero. There's been no comment here from the superstar himself, who's being driven around Moscow in a motorcade of Zills, as if he were a visiting president. Jackson's been trying to take his mind off things with a visit to a Russian army barracks, where he joined the troops on parade.
Michael Jackson cancelled his flight out of Moscow. Instead, he went out to play. A trip to visit children in hospital suddenly appeared on his schedule, to the delight of the youngsters on this ward. This was a more relaxed Jackson, doing on stage what he likes doing most, being with and entertaining the young. For what else would he like to do?
I like to sing with them. We all know a song together.
And perhaps helped push away all thoughts of recent ordeals and the allegations of the sexual abuse of children he faces back home and the possible police interrogation still to come.
Many of the fans were expecting more. They did not see that superhuman energy of old. The tour has been rough on Michael, but those who know him best say his dedication has never wavered, despite periodic bouts of illness.
I've seen him before. He's doing the show, the lights go down, and he falls down on the stage. They're coming out, they're giving him oxygen, and then, you know, give me a couple of minutes, the lights come on, and he's right back, and no one in the audience is the wiser. I think he's doing remarkably well, considering all the things that are going on in his life right now.
It's sad that things going on, you know, about him.
But you can't breathe in your ear.
And it's not how he is, you know.
Michael Jackson has abandoned his Dangerous tour. Jackson issued a statement saying the pressure resulting from what he called false allegations, coupled with the energy necessary to perform on stage, left him exhausted, and he became dependent on painkillers.
My friends and doctors advised me to seek professional guidance immediately in order to eliminate what has become an addiction. It is time for me to acknowledge my need for treatment in order to regain my health. I realize that completing the tour is no longer possible, and I must cancel the remaining dates.
Jackson's scheduled trip to Puerto Rico would have marked the first time the entertainer would have set foot on U.S. soil since the allegations of molestation surfaced in August. This fueled speculation that Los Angeles authorities might fly to Puerto Rico to question Jackson, but the singer has not been charged with any crime.
Lawyers say Jackson's treatment should be completed in 6 to 8 weeks. They went on to say that Jackson is barely able to function in an intelligent manner. Jackson's lawyer added that Jackson would return to the US if he faced criminal charges.
He is not hiding out. He's not fleeing from anything.
So I think it's very, very suspicious that the day before he's ready to go to U.S. soil in Puerto Rico, he pulls up and goes in the middle of the night secretly to some foreign location.
A current affair caught Liz Taylor sneaking Michael out of Mexico City last week as a London newspaper printed an alleged eyewitness account of Michael's treatment.
In this article, the Sun goes into great detail about the alleged treatment Jackson is supposedly receiving at this clinic. They say that he's got 5 bodyguards with him, 2 24-hour-a-day nurses. He's under constant care. They're saying that he's being fed Valium through his hand in a kind of a tube.
Headline writers have had an easy time picking over the Jackson story, but it hasn't been a moonwalk on the photo editor's desk. No pictures of Michael have surfaced yet. 2 British tabloids are offering rewards for Jacko's sightings. The Mirror, all his albums. The Sun, where he's usually Wacko Jacko, will pay £10,000, $15,000 for a new picture of Jackson.
Michael Jackson remains in hiding. All reports that he's in Canada, or France, or Switzerland remain completely unsubstantiated.
The Michael Jackson case blows wide open. The DA demands to know where he is. Police want to know whether he's changing his appearance.
I cannot, and I will not, be a silent collaborator of his crimes. What 35-year-old man is going to take a little boy and stay with him for 30 days, and take another boy and stay with him for 5 days, in a room and never leave the room? How many would take little kids and do that?
My deepest gratitude for your love and support. I am doing well and I am strong. As you may already know, after my tour ended, I remain out of the country undergoing treatment for a dependency on pain medication. There have been many disgusting statements made recently concerning allegations of improper conduct on my part. These statements about me are totally false. As I have maintained from the very beginning, I am hoping for a speedy end to this horrifying experience to which I have been subjected. I will say that I am particularly upset by the handling of this mass matter by the incredible, terrible mass media. I ask all of you to wait and hear the truth before you label or condemn me. Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent. I have been forced to submit to a dehumanizing and humiliating examination by the Santa Barbara County Sheriff Department and the Los Angeles Police Department earlier this week. They served a search warrant on me which allowed them to view and photograph my body. It was the most humiliating ordeal of my life, one that no person should ever have to suffer. I am not guilty of these allegations, but if I am guilty of anything, it is of giving all that I have to give to help children all over the world. I am totally innocent of any wrongdoing, and I know these terrible allegations will all be proven false. Again, to my friends and fans, thank you very much for all of your support. Together, we will see this through to the very end. I love you very much, and may God bless you all. I love you. Goodbye.
The biggest selling recording artist in the world, the king of pop, rock and soul, Mr. Michael Jackson.
Thank you for your warm and generous support. I love you very much.
Michael Jackson speaks out with a vengeance. The beleaguered singer chose the NAACP Image Awards Wednesday night to launch another broadside against those who've made child abuse allegations against him.
Everyone is presumed to be innocent and totally innocent until they are charged with a crime and then convicted by a jury of their peers. Because not only am I presumed to be innocent, I am innocent.
Grand jury in Santa Barbara, California will tomorrow begin hearing evidence in the criminal case against Michael Jackson. But he took time out this past weekend to invite in camera crews to entertain some 100 inner-city kids at his palatial Neverland Ranch. Jackson romping the grounds, riding the rides, and firing up his new steam engine train.
I think that he's innocent. He does not seem like him. He has too much of a good heart. And, I mean, he lets kids come over every day and he helps them out and stuff like that. So I don't think he did it.
I feel he's a very nice person, you know. All those accusations made, I don't think he did it, you know. I think he's a very nice person.
His handlers are expected to orchestrate more events like this one and carefully choose who is allowed to cover them. All this in hopes of undoing the damage done by the molestation allegations.
Sources say Jackson and the teenage boy who accused him of sexual molestation are close to reaching a settlement. One source in the Jackson camp saying they want the case to go away because of the bad publicity. Estimates are Jackson will pay the boy anywhere from $5 to $20 million to make that happen.
Superstar Michael Jackson and the teenage boy who filed a civil suit against him have reached a multi-million-dollar out-of-court settlement. Attorneys on both sides appeared today at a joint press conference to announce a mutual resolution of the lawsuit.
The resolution of this case is in no way an admission of guilt by Michael Jackson.
Behind the closed doors of a judge's chambers, the drama drew to an abrupt close.
The plaintiff has agreed the lawsuit should be resolved and it will be dismissed in the near future.
If you have enough money, can you buy your way out of any sort of trouble? That's one way of looking at it. Did Michael Jackson sexually molest a young boy? We may never know.
If he is guilty and he can just buy himself out of his situation, then that just is wrong.
I think it shows guilt. To me, yeah. Why would you pay $40 million if you're innocent?
Yes, he could be guilty, and maybe he's just trying to wipe it under the rug, but I'm not convinced either way.
Some marketing experts believe Jackson will now have little chance of getting big money product endorsements or concert sponsorships.
I'm not sure that anybody could really afford to take the risk of embracing Michael Jackson as a spokesmodel.
I don't think there's going to be much action there for Michael. I think his lifestyle was such that he tended to put off advertising.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jackson Family Honors. Please welcome the Jackson family.
Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your loyalty.
He doesn't have any music prepared. Hey, listen. I know you'd all love to hear Michael sing, but he doesn't have any music prepared and he hasn't rehearsed. Oh, come on. That's not nice. Don't boo. That's an ugly sound.
Garcetti said the probe of Jackson is ongoing, and he believes the boy will be allowed to testify. Michael Jackson's mother came to court in a stretch limo to testify before the grand jury.
I'd just like to say before I went in, I was sure my son's innocent.
And now that I've finished and completed my testimony, I still feel the same way.
The disgraced singer received an ecstatic reception from an army of loyal fans when he took to the stage to receive the Caring for Kids Award. Body Sculpt polled 100,000 children around New York, and over 75% voted for Jackson in favor of the likes of Whitney Houston and Bill Cosby. As a damage limitation exercise, it couldn't have been better, and despite facing serious child molestation charges, in his fans' eyes at least, Jackson is still number one.
He sounds like he's an abuser, the way he's speaking.
Do you make these accusations?
Is that your fear? People like you will let this go on, and it's very, very wrong.
Who's talking to you in the background?
I refuse to sit here and listen to you talk this way. I think it's wrong of you.
Who's talking to you in the background?
So I have nothing else to say to you whatsoever. I think what you're doing is wrong. I'm sorry. Goodbye.
That was a normal service. Some friend of mine is a lawyer, talked to me before. He talked to me if I want to make a marriage from Mr. Jackson from his prison. I say yes.
Well, here in New York, all eyes and camera lenses are on Trump Tower tonight. There are reports Michael Jackson has moved into the famous address with Lisa Marie Presley.
All day long, world news organizations, tabloids, and fans like you see here have been staring at Trump Tower, just looking at it, wondering if this incredible story could be true.
The scene at Trump Tower today resembled a media snipe hunt. The reason? The New York Post reported the couple has been lent a duplex apartment by Donald Trump.
And what about the publicity stunt about him being a child molester?
They just seem to be so opposite.
I think he's just doing it just to get the pressure off of him. So, you know, they say he's not gay or whatever he is.
Well, I don't care anything about Michael Jackson. I can't imagine he'd marry a woman.
I think he's trying to deceive the people, that trying to cover up what he did with that little kid.
Conspiracy theories, cover-ups. Is there honeymoon bliss in Trump Tower?
So they have officially tied the knot, or have they? We're wed. Elvis's girl, I did wed Jack.
In her official announcement to the media yesterday, Lisa Marie says she is very much in love, and I dedicate my life to being his wife. We both look forward to raising a family together.
I think it's great. They're very happy, and I think everybody's happy. They're great people.
You must have kept this secret for a long time.
I've known the secret for a long time, for a very long time.
The secret wedding and now secret honeymoon of the King of Pop and the daughter of the King of Rock is taking on a media life of its own.
The competition between the papers is absolutely fierce. A picture of the two of them would be worth, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000.
To many, the marriage of Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley will rank high in the annals of outlandish, hard-to-believe stories, even for show business. What could be more bizarre and shocking? How about a baby on the way?
Lisa Marie Presley has said that she would like to have children with Michael Jackson, even though Michael Jackson, as we know, has been accused of child molestation.
I have no idea if she's pregnant. If she would be, it might be like the second immaculate conception. I don't know.
Can you imagine? It's the child of the King of Pop and the grandchild of the King of Rock. I guess we'll really have a musical crown prince there if it's true.
And what about this alleged pregnancy? Is she pregnant? Have they consummated? Anyone know? Of course,
well, Michael floated that rumor to us. I mean, he floated that as fact to us. And, you know, we printed what he said. I don't believe it. And he just said the other day she's not.
Through the magic of computer graphics, the Globe has come up with what the baby might look like should it be a boy. Here he is, the grandson of the king.
Has known Lisa Marie for a long time, have been dating her for over a year and a half in secret. No one said anything since she was married. So, I mean, this is not as phony as
Oh, come on. Even he said he only did it twice.
Newlyweds Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley have left their New York love nest for the moment, and they are in Europe. They flew by private jet to Hungary, where they arrived tonight, and they're going to shoot a video.
Preparations began in Budapest to welcome the King of Pop. Jackson's double did the early dancing. The star's next album has Jacko as the liberator of Eastern Europe, even though the last Soviet troops left Hungary 3.5 years ago.
Saving Hungary from communism 5 years after the event was almost credible compared to the scenes the day before. In fact, these children were hardly ill. They were going home the next day. Last night, we tried to ask Mr. and Mrs. Jackson about the fall of communism, adoption, and rumors that she's 3 months pregnant. The Jacksons were not receiving guests. Appropriately enough, Jackson's new album is called History. Veterans of the 1956 uprising here say he should remember they are the real freedom fighters, not Michael Jackson. They're threatening to disrupt his filming schedule if they can find him.
Filming went on into the night, as many central parts of this historic city were cut off to members of the public. Come morning, the crowds returned to the streets for a glimpse of their hero. But was he there? And was his new wife, the daughter of the King of Rock and Roll, there with him? Someone appeared briefly, but even for the eagle eye of the camera, it was a little too hard to tell.
But it was a long wait. Euro Disney wasn't the only attraction for Michael Jackson and his bride. Since arriving in France at the weekend for a private visit, they'd been shopping in Paris and had visited the Versailles Palace outside the capital. Fans had to be patient, but finally they were rewarded. Tight security ensured that this was as close as the fans are going to get to the rock star and his bride, Lisa Marie, daughter of Elvis Presley. Heavily in debt and needing to boost crowds, Euro Disney welcomed the Jacksons' visit. It remained a private affair, but they still attracted much-needed publicity for the theme park, which is under pressure from investors. But that was far from the minds of the couple whose Euro Disney visit capped a 2-week holiday in France, most of it on the Riviera. After visiting the theme park, they left for the airport to board their private jet for the flight home to California.
Please welcome Mr. and Mrs. Michael Jackson.
And just think, nobody thought this would last.
Well, what did you think about Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie actually turning up at the beginning?
I thought it was interesting the way Lisa Marie curiously turned her mouth away from his. I think she didn't want to smear her lipstick, though. I didn't think it was anything personal.
Or maybe his lipstick.
Exactly.
What did you, that MTV kiss, the smooch on stage? Did you watch that, or how did you feel about that? Were you like, oh boy?
Well, I mean,
I think most mothers would feel a little embarrassed, at least mine would, if I kissed my husband on stage in front of millions of people. Were you a bit bemused by that?
No, not by that. No.
I read somewhere that it was a bit of a surprise to you that they had actually gotten married.
Well, I think that's the way they wanted it. I mean, you know, you have so many, when you're older and you want to make your own decisions, and she, you know, they decided, I guess that was the right thing, and they wanted to do it without fanfare, so, you know.
Have you gotten to know Michael at all?
I know Michael, not really, really well, but I admire his work. I think he's very, very talented.
The doctor's get-up might be appropriate because Michael is preparing to deliver his baby, his new album.
At this point in his life and his career, Michael needs his biggest hit yet.
Lisa Marie Presley Jackson, Michael Jackson.
It was a night for the history books, Barry. The official recognition of pop music's royal families united in marriage, the Presley-Jackson. Mingling among the many there to honor the memory of Elvis were the newlyweds themselves, Lisa Marie and Michael. Michael's new album, History, is scheduled for release next month. And there's even talk he may resume his world tour, this time with Lisa Marie by his side.
It's just one strange twist after another, and now the word from the Jackson camp is Splitsville.
They have become geographically undesirable to each other. And some heated words were exchanged, and Michael slammed down the phone, according to my sources, and said that the marriage is over.
They're using the holiday season as a way to bring the family together.
My sources have also told me that Michael and Lisa Marie want to have a child next year. I don't know that they'll be together for years and years and years, but I think that they will be together long enough to have a child.
I want to thank all of the fans for their unwavering support over the past year. Please note, it was acknowledged and greatly appreciated. We are still in the studio working on history, and hopefully it will be available to you in early 1995. I love you all very, very much, and I shall never, ever forget you, I promise.
Coming forward with allegations he was by the superstar. But when our Diane Diamond began to investigate, she uncovered a trail of lies.
Terry, ever since the Michael Jackson scandal broke, we've gotten a constant stream of calls and letters from people making dubious claims about the singer. The boy said he met Michael Jackson at a Canadian video arcade. This 15-year-old described in detail the people in Jackson's entourage, the layout of the ranch. He even went so far as to draw us a picture of what he said Michael Jackson looked like during the alleged and now he was about to give a sworn statement to the police.
I want you to remember one thing. Just tell the truth.
The whole story was a scam. A Toronto street kid meets a man obsessed with the Michael Jackson case, and the result could have been an international scandal. Meanwhile, back at the police station, the boy finally broke down. He admitted that he and Rodney Allen had made up the whole story.
To accept the Harry Chapin Humanitarian Award. The award recognizes efforts to advance social change. Later, the audience heard several tracks from Jackson's new album, His Story, Book One.
In Budapest, Hungary, we had thousands of soldiers from different regions in the world, and we staged and choreographed along with Michael, the soldiers, as well as, his bits and
flag men, everything. We had flag men, rifles, and you name it, we choreographed it.
What was the message you were trying to put forth?
Power, and he's back.
Power and unity.
Power, and he's back with a vengeance. History, Past, Present, and Future, Book One. That mouthful is the title of Michael Jackson's long-awaited and long-delayed album. Now, this is a very important album for Michael Jackson. Not only is it his first release of new material since 1991's Dangerous, it's his first musical statement following the tumultuous events and the intense scrutiny of the past few years.
If you're an artist and you put your feelings on your record and in your music, it gives it a whole different energy than it would have if you're just singing, well, la-da-down, whatever. He sang what was on his mind, and it's a very aggressive, very personal album. And it's, to me, it's his finest album, just because of that.
Scream is a duet with his sister Janet. Now, of course, when Michael Jackson makes a video, it is always an event. But this time, he is literally making history. And see that soundstage behind me? It is one of 5 housing 10 sets used in this $7 million project.
Kind of is taking place in a spaceship or kind of in a vacuum. I think the spaceship is kind of a metaphor of the vacuum that their lives sort of are. They wanted the song to be very aggressive. It was interesting. Somebody asked me, what's the song like? And I said, well, it ain't a ballad. It's not a ballad. It's very tough and very aggressive.
British TV and radio stations gave the world premiere of his new single. It's called Scream and is his first single for 2 years. Today, breakfast TV shows and radio stations across the country all played the single called Scream, which features his sister Janet. Critics such as Mark Firth, editor of Smash Hits, says he's as good as ever.
On Friday, we asked what you thought of Michael Jackson's new single, Scream. 3,072 people gave it the thumbs down, but more than twice as many, 6,955, liked it.
And before anyone else, here is that exclusive video. $6 million it cost, exclusive only to Top of the Pops. Michael Jackson and Scream!
Since the release of his Dangerous album 4 years ago, Michael Jackson has endured one of the biggest showbiz scandals ever. But he's back with his new album History and the most expensive video yet, Scream.
And it is the most expensive, wouldn't it have to be, pop video ever made. £2 million a minute it cost to, $2 million a minute it cost to produce.
It better be good.
Watch the video, it's so much energy in the video. You guys are just like electric. What was it like working together, like doing it, the dancing and the whole thing?
It was great because we love to dance. And to get in a room and dance with my sister reminds me of old times.
Okay.
Because it allowed us to play and goof off and throw stuff, and it was fun. The making of is as much fun as seeing the real.
Michael and his wife Lisa Marie Presley Jackson will be interviewed for the first time on American television next month. The show will be an hour-long Mr. and Mrs. Jackson special. One of the topics to be discussed will be the scandal caused by the allegations of child molestation, which Michael has faced over the past 2 years.
Lisa Marie Presley, Michael Jackson, center stage and on the record.
Sexually engage, fondle, have sexual contact with this child or any other child. Never, ever. I could never harm a child or anyone. And they found nothing that can say Michael Jackson did this. Nothing. But let me ask you to this day, nothing. Still nothing. Let me ask you nothing. Nothing. I got nothing. All right.
Yeah,
so
how about
5 years.
that?
Don't believe the
Turn
garbage.
down.
All the tabloid junk. Don't read it. Don't listen to it. It's garbage. It's junk. Stupid. And enough of it. And tonight is over.
We weren't there just to hang out. The reason for the gathering was a photo session for Quincy's Vibe magazine. A shoot so important, it had to be supervised by the boss.
You know, he's got nice broad shoulders, he's got a nice height, he's got a nice figure, so clothes look good on him.
Though she posed with Michael for a couple of shots, Kadada was really there to style a shoot. She's the one who got Michael to wear hip-hop looks by Tommy Hilfiger, Diesel, Adidas, and Karl Kani. A radical departure for an artist known for creating his own style.
Songs, including the smash hit Scream. Michael Jackson, History.
2-CD set includes a 52-page booklet complete with sketches, photos of Michael and friends, testimonials from those friends, and a listing of Jackson's various achievements.
I worked with R. Kelly. I worked with Notorious Big. I worked with Boys to Men, who were phenomenal.
Michael Jackson has been forced to apologize to the Jewish community for some lyrics in one of his new songs.
It was incredulous that Michael Jackson would select words like that.
Rabbi Marvin Heyer was referring to the song They Don't Care About Us that includes these lyrics.
But Jackson says, quote, "My intention was for this song to say no to racism, anti-Semitism and stereotyping. Unfortunately, my choice of words may have unintentionally hurt the very people I wanted to stand in solidarity with."
Michael Jackson's new double album, His Story, went on sale at midnight, and fans coast to coast turned out to snap up the first copies.
Look out, because Mike's coming back. It's almost midnight, and music fans wait to be among the first to buy Michael Jackson's new album.
Everybody here is a Michael Jackson fan. I mean, he draws the biggest crowds in the world, from young to old, and that's what everybody's here is for.
Whether you pronounce it History or His Story, this collection of 15 previous hits and 15 new songs is among the most hyped, most anticipated albums in memory.
As far as marketing is concerned, it would be difficult to think of anything that has not been thought of with this campaign. They've really pulled out all the stops.
Michael and Janet Jackson. The single, Scream, debuted at number 5 on the charts, while a movie trailer publicizing the album portrayed Jackson as bigger than life. Some audiences booed or laughed. While the display makes history, the question remains whether History the album will do the same. Sony Music says it will be disappointed if the album doesn't sell 20 million copies. If it does, Michael Jackson, the king of sales, will remain the king of pop.
The King of Pop made a very public appearance at one of LA's busiest tourist areas.
Jackson made a surprise appearance at the grand opening of Irvin Magic Johnson's theater chain in LA last night. After his appearance at the theater opening, Jackson came here to Universal's City Walk. And when the reclusive pop star went out for his midnight walk, he apparently did so without any security, any bodyguards. Michael bought some environmental music CDs and caused pandemonium in the store.
Like, Michael, let me shake your hand. He extended his hand right here. And we actually, we're like shaking it like just like this forever.
This sort of meet and greet is somewhat out of character for Jackson, but Jackson's riding high at #1 with his new album, History. He's apparently enjoying the confidence that comes with success, and fans couldn't be more thrilled.
VH1 is proud to announce the creation of a special VH1 International Honors Award for the King of Pop, which will be presented in future years to artists whose worldwide charitable work follows in the footsteps of yourself.
Children. We are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving.
Hundreds of Michael Jackson fans lined the bad, dangerous, and very hot streets of Manhattan today.
I'm still shaking. Like, I couldn't believe I saw him live. 38th Street and Broadway in 2 seconds flat, just to see the glimpse of his back of his head. But we caught it.
Michael was in town to announce this year's MTV Video Music Awards on September 7th.
Jackson came away with the most nominations, 11 in all.
Michael Jackson faced a firing line of world press, but the gloved one was taking no questions.
I'm very happy to have been nominated for so many awards. And I just wanted to say, it makes me very happy and I'm very honored. Thank you very much. And I want to thank Mayor Giuliano for his very kind words. Thank you.
The other big news is that HBO will broadcast a Michael Jackson concert in December. But unlike this 1992 concert, this time Michael will perform in a small New York theater. The King of Pop has no plans to tour, so if you miss the HBO special, your chance to see Michael will be his story.
Is he the king of pop or the king of flop? Michael Jackson's new CD, History, is putting up less than thrilling numbers. Now industry experts say old MJ has hit such desperate times, there's no telling where he'll show up next.
Just the latest move in a Jackson media blitz that started with the Diane Sawyer primetime live interview. And with History trailing the likes of Hootie and the Blowfish and Pocahontas on the Billboard charts, Vibe magazine's Alan Light says Michael is being forced out of his shell.
Because there's a sense that the record's not doing as well as was expected, well, what you do about that is you put yourself in front of people. You get your videos out, you get your singles out sooner, you talk about doing TV appearances or touring.
Michael is also taking his act into cyberspace. He'll go online August 17th to chat with his fans on the internet.
Anyone with internet access will be able to send questions to the singer in Los Angeles by electronic mail.
Jackson can use all the help he can get promoting his double album History, which has fallen to number 16 on the latest Billboard chart.
I don't know if our question is going to be answered or not. I imagine probably not if they have hundreds of questions, but there isn't any other opportunity that we would ever have had to even try to ask a question. So I guess in that sense, it's a fun thing.
He's giving the interview that people want, but at the same time, he's going to be able to do it on his terms. You know, he's going to get snowball questions, and he's not really going to have to reveal much of anything.
Brandon asks, Brandon wants to know how, after all the bad press, you can keep going and doing the best job that any rock star can do, despite of what the press say about celebrities or myself in general. I move ahead. I don't pay attention to it because it's garbage. It's tabloid junk. And it's not important to me.
Michael Jackson has used the internet to dispel media claims that he is getting a divorce. Jackson told fans via the internet yesterday, quote, "Never believe that tabloid garbage," unquote. In his computer chat with fans, Jackson avoided questions about child abuse allegations and spent most of the hour-long session answering trivial questions about superheroes and musical tastes.
If he leaves the guitar there, will somebody turn it off? They'll remember? Okay. I wish you could trash it. See? See? Can we try? Can we try it just one more time?
And the winner is Michael Jackson.
You kicked ass. I'm sorry. In the opening, you kicked ass. I'm sorry. And thank all the fans and thank God. Thank you very much.
I really don't know what to say, but I think you're all wonderful people, and I love you so much, and thank you for everything. I love you more.
Thank you very much.
Memphis Zoo officials said they had no idea that Michael was loose in the park. Visitors at the Memphis Zoo got a glimpse at a rare American bird last Sunday, the elusive Michael Jackson, an endangered species. The gloved one was disguised as a masked one, wielding an umbrella. The self-proclaimed king of pop was flanked by big, burly bodyguards, while an unhappy Lisa Marie and her children tagged along.
Michael Jackson.
Everybody! You're always in my heart, but you are not alone.
And thank you. Thank you.
Michael Jackson, one night only. You've never been this close. Sunday, December 10th at 8 p.m. only on HBO. We're talking about Michael Jackson as New York City gears up for the King of Pop's exclusive HBO concert event at the historic Beacon Theater in Manhattan on Sunday, December 10th.
Michael, this way.
It was a circus is what it was. People running back and forth.
There was ambulances, fire trucks, and police
police officers and everything, and they literally shut down Broadway.
Amsterdam and Broadway. A roadie came out with her credentials and said that Michael Jackson was rehearsing a number, and it just dropped to the ground.
Word of Jackson's hospitalization sent the media into a feeding frenzy.
Michael is stabilized. Rehearsals for his concert are continuing tonight.
Michael Jackson was rehearsing for a concert due to be broadcasted to hundreds of millions of people across the world, but it has now been postponed. The first paramedics on the scene said that Jackson was semi-conscious and mumbling, and that he had so much makeup dripping from his face that they had to pull his shirt up to check the tone of his skin.
It's a very serious call. Luckily, we found someone who was breathing, who was conscious, and we treated him for his symptoms.
A hospital spokesman has told MTV News that Jackson will be held in intensive care for at least 48 hours and that he is undergoing tests.
Michael Jackson remains hospitalized after collapsing on stage Tuesday, forcing the postponement of his upcoming televised concert.
He is in the intensive care unit in serious condition, but stable condition. They say he suffered a fainting reaction yesterday, possibly due to a cardiac arrhythmia with dehydration.
His doctors released a statement diagnosing the superstar with cardiac arrhythmia, or an irregular heartbeat, with dehydration, gastroenteritis, and problems with both kidney and liver function.
Throughout the day, the number of reporters and photographers grew steadily outside the hospital. A handful of fans braved the blustery cold winds to sign a poster wishing the pop star a speedy recovery. The 37-year-old singer's mother was an early morning visitor, as was his wife, Lisa Marie Presley. Jackson's sister, recording artist Janet Jackson, was also a bedside guest. She and her brother were supposed to appear live on last night's Billboard Music Awards show, but had to cancel.
Someone who's not yet been seen at the hospital, though, is Jackson's sister, LaToya. She told newspapers that she thought it was all a publicity stunt and that Michael wasn't ill at all.
Michael Jackson is still in intensive care at a New York hospital where he was taken after he collapsed on stage on Wednesday evening with problems affecting his heart, kidneys and liver.
It will be a very long time before Michael Jackson can relaunch his career again, according to his personal physician.
He is communicative and expressing that he is feeling better. We're finding evidence of moderate improvement, not overt significant wellness by any yardstick. He is aware that he was in a near extremist situation and that he is on the mend.
Meanwhile, the hospital itself is becoming a place of pilgrimage for hardcore Jackson fans.
I would like to tell him that we love him, that nobody is against him, that we're all with him. We all want him to get better.
We are very, very anxious about the Michael health, but we hope he is okay now. We don't know exactly.
With a smile and a wave, Michael Jackson stepped into the cold Manhattan air. After 7 days in Beth Israel Medical Center North, Jackson left his fans. In a prepared statement, doctors said Jackson will need several weeks of rest and follow-up care. He was diagnosed with a gastrointestinal virus that led to severe dehydration, irregular heartbeat, and lowered blood pressure.
That's all I can say. I felt so good.
All right,
I'll call you back.
I want you to know, Michael, we wish you the best of health, and you got everybody in the Bahamas praying for you 100%. We love you.
I feel good because I know that I've seen him and I know I accomplished my goal in my life.
You're not alone. Michael Jackson got some news Tuesday that may make him feel better. He was nominated for 3 American Music Awards, including Male Artist of the Year in the Pop, R&B, and Adult Contemporary categories.
Come on, Ricky.
Jackson has always enjoyed playing the part of Peter Pan in Neverland. And now a Jackson source says Michael's medical crisis has a hint of fantasy.
A couple of months ago, Lisa Marie made the decision to live in her home in Hidden Hills, California. The fact of the matter is that there is a rather unofficial separation going on.
Lisa Marie Presley's marriage to Michael Jackson is over. Lisa Marie filed for divorce yesterday, ending their 20-month-old relationship.
After a year and a half of marriage to pop superstar Michael Jackson, Lisa Marie Presley has filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences.
Court papers indicate they separated December 10th. That is while Michael Jackson was recovering in a New York hospital after collapsing on stage. Johnny Cochran, Jackson's attorney, said, quote, Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley Jackson have mutually agreed to go their separate ways. They remain good friends.
public will feel that the marriage was a setup the whole time, that the whole thing was a sham. And my sources have told me, and Michael has told me, that it was not a sham. It was not a publicity stunt. Marriages go bad all the time. Relationships often don't work out. And this was a very difficult, rather dysfunctional relationship from the beginning. So it's not surprising that it's over. However, I do hope that the public will keep in mind that perhaps, maybe it really was just a good relationship that went bad.
Michael can't be here tonight. He's mourning the loss of Lisa Marie, so we're going to all get together. Put your hand up. Woo! We love you, Michael. You'll find another beautiful woman, we promise.
The soon-to-be single King of Pop showed up with a beautiful blonde makeup artist for dinner at New York's trendy Motown Cafe. They sat at an intimate table for two and feasted on sushi, which had to be driven in from another restaurant because it's not on Motown's menu. Jackson and his date never took off their sunglasses and, according to witnesses, seemed very cozy.
We got a call about an hour ago that he was on a dinner break from the shoot of his video, They Don't Care About Us, which is being shot across the bridge in Queens and is being directed by Spike Lee.
The two met for the first time recently and decided to team up for the making of Michael's next music video, They Don't Care About Us.
All right, pitch, here we go.
I'm gonna be 39, he's 38, so we grew up, you know. I grew up with him. I didn't know him, but I had a big afro like all the Jackson 5.
So Spike was thrilled when he got the call that Michael wanted to meet him. Michael appears as a prison inmate in the video, which will illustrate what he considers to be injustices around the world. So did Michael look all broken up over his divorce? Not exactly.
He seemed really, really relaxed. It wasn't like Lisa dumped him. It was something they agreed upon together. So it was almost a relief to him that he could go on with his life and not have somebody constantly nagging him to make changes in it.
And Flo says it's not at all surprising that Michael jumped right back into his work.
He's worked since he was 8 years old, and I don't think that he knows a lot more than work.
Pop superstar is set to shoot a music video in a poverty-stricken shantytown near Rio. But that's raised the ire of officials in Rio for the damage he may do to the area's image.
Pop star Michael Jackson has arrived in Brazil to shoot scenes for a video despite criticism from the Brazilian authorities.
A judge in Rio de Janeiro has slapped a temporary restraining order on Michael Jackson and Spike Lee, preventing them from filming scenes in a slum for the video to the song They Don't Care About Us.
This was the scene that greeted Michael Jackson yesterday when he started filming his controversial new video, They Don't Care About Us, in Brazil. The video is meant to highlight the plight of children in poverty-stricken areas of Rio, but Brazilian authorities tried to ban the shoot because they felt that images of slums would affect the city's tourism. But the government fears were overruled when residents of the slums said the money Jackson offered them was too good to refuse. And they're now planning a Michael Jackson museum in the house that Jackson used while he was there.
Michael Jackson got his wish. He was allowed to shoot an upcoming music video, but local news reports claim he had to strike a bargain with drug dealers in order to do so. Local residents enthusiastically welcomed the superstar, and Spike Lee, the director of the video, said neighborhood figures did in fact approve the shoot, but he didn't know whether they were drug dealers or not.
Michael, tell me something for the Brazilian people, please.
I love you, Brazil.
Thank you very much. I love you too. Thank you. Obrigada.
After a quick trip to Brazil, the King of Pop hit London over the weekend for his first live concert since his collapse.
After he stepped off the Concorde, Jacko, as the Brits call him, got a warm reception in frosty England Friday, where he arrived to prepare for a comeback performance.
I've never got his costume. If I got costume today, you can't see he doesn't look really well. He looks gorgeous. Absolutely, he's beautiful. He said he loved me. He said he
loved me, give me had another book. He took my address and he said, I'll see what I can do, and I love you.
Fresh from filming his controversial music video in the slums of Brazil, Jackson has been rehearsing all weekend for a live performance on the Brit Awards, England's version of the Grammys.
Michael will be performing his #1 song, Earth Song, as he did on German TV in November last year. This time, though, the organisers of the Brit Awards say that the staging and choreography will be unique to this one-off event.
Tonight, two of the biggest names in pop, Michael Jackson and Take That, will be performing here in London. And John Kurz is somewhere over there talking to the fans. Over to you, John.
Have you seen Michael Jackson?
We saw his white glove out of the car.
If Michael Jackson has any sense, he's probably inside because it's way too cold. See you later.
But I believe in us as a people. I know we can make a difference. I love you all. And I believe in all of you. I love you.
But on a dramatic night when Michael Jackson made his first live UK TV appearance for years, and when pulp singer Jarvis Cocker got himself into a spot of bother, the real
This is the part of the Brits viewers didn't see. The moment Jarvis Cocker got on stage during Michael Jackson's performance of Earth Song. Pulp's lead singer said he was making a protest at the superstar's Jesus Act. As Jackson left the stage, he was said to be sickened, angry and saddened at reports that Jarvis Cocker had attacked children taking part in the show.
They arrested me and said, oh, you know, you ran onto that stage and assaulted some kids. I couldn't really believe that they were saying that at first. But then, you know, they carted me off to the police station, so...
I want to set the record straight, that if people hear a lie long enough, people believe it, that people have lied on me. I'm a black American and I'm proud of it, and I'm honored of it. The bleach skin rumor, which is a rumor, I don't bleach my skin. They once said I wanted a white kid to play me as a child, which was a rumor.
That's true.
And Jesus said to love the children and be like children, be youthful and be innocent and be pure. And he always surrounded himself with children. And that's how I was raised, to believe and to be like that and to imitate that.
Just one, please. Just one over here.
Michael, this way, Michael, this way.
Through Kingdom Entertainment, the Prince and myself will combine human and financial resources to be successful in all phases of the global entertainment revolution. We intend to be active in theme parks, hotels, animation, feature films, interactive educational entertainment, and of course character licensing and merchandising.
This idea of taking Michael further than we've ever seen it. I said, I want you to play all the parts. You're going to dance like you've never danced before. You're going to be virtually in every shot. You're going to be getting up early in the morning for heavy makeup calls. You're going to be dancing in heavy costumes. And it was like that quick. He says, I'll do it.
But first, for the brand new video from Michael Jackson.
You into Michael Jackson?
I love Michael Jackson.
Should we check him out right now?
Let's beat it.
Latest video from the man himself.
But just 2 months ago, when Michael was completing this version of the video, E.T.'s cameras caught the pop star performing the original words. We showed footage of the video shoot to Rabbi Marvin Heyer, an activist for Jewish causes, and he was outraged.
I'm shocked. Jew me, sue me, kick me, kike me. Those are the words that he told us that he would never use again.
The artistic ingredients are not there. You can have the biggest controversy in the world, but people are going to stop buying your records.
No one knows if They Don't Care About Us will be a hit, but if Michael releases it with the original lyrics, he better gear up for more trouble.
Not only was he offensive to start with, now he's basically a liar.
Those anti-Semitic lyrics in Michael Jackson's song They Don't Care About Us have haunted him for some months now. But the controversy has followed him halfway around the world to Monaco, where ET's Mark Steinis has the exclusive on Michael trying to make amends.
By the way, I love Jewish people.
His was the name on everyone's lips in Monte Carlo as Michael Jackson Mania took over the World Music Awards. E.T. caught the king of pop as he got ready in the wings for his performance, and when the curtain came up, Michael once again wove his magic. In spite of supermodels, superstars, and even royalty, when Michael Jackson performed here at the World Music Awards, the world stopped. Michael picked up 5 awards and sat next to Princess Stephanie of Monaco, who shared her feelings about him with me.
He's a very sweet and gentle person, and he's really a very kind human being.
On stage, Michael had an emotional reunion with his old friend Diana Ross, and as he left the stage, I met up with him for an exclusive, rare interview. Michael, you got to see Diana again. Congratulations, what a great night. 3, do you need an extra hand for all of those? What you going to do with them?
Put him in a place of honor.
And playback.
The star guest at the Sultan of Brunei's 50th birthday party, entertaining a crowd of 60,000 people. Michael is believed to have been paid between 15 and 20.
Lots of people from all over the place, all over Malaysia.
Everybody
everywhere.
loves Michael.
We're all here.
Woo! We want you, Michael! We love you so much, Michael!
I love you all. Assalamu alaikum. Peace, Brunei, and a good night. Thank you.
It was his first time there, but he said he was glad to be home. Michael Jackson, king of pop, arrived in South Africa on a promotional tour that in many ways looked more like a state visit. At the airport in Johannesburg, Jackson was met by a welcoming party that included politicians as well as fans. Then it was on to a birthday party for the country's most popular man, the South African president, Nelson Mandela.
Happy birthday to you.
The next stop on Jackson's whirlwind immersion in South African history was a visit to Soweto. The star made a brief stop in the township, which was the center of resistance to the white minority regime. Jackson laid flowers at a memorial for young blacks who were gunned down by white policemen at a protest in 1976. The performer, who's been criticized at home for denying his African identity, was careful to embrace it before announcing dates for upcoming concerts.
I'm sorry that I was not able to play South Africa dates previously because I was so much looking forward to coming here. But now I am really excited about bringing the history tour, a brand new show, the history tour, to South Africa.
You know, it's always a partnership with Michael. I was co-directing and co-conceptualizing. and co-staging, that I had a strong partner there that really had belief in the potential of this tour from the very start. But the challenge, I think, was just in the physical time that we had. Could we get everything built?
Uvádí Serge Grimaud ve spolupráci s Rock Production. Vstupenky ve všech pobočkách Ticket Pro.
Nikdo neví, ale potom každopádně pozdravil stovky fanoušků přímo z terasy v 9. patře, kde v tuto chvíli patrně večeří v restauraci. Fanoušci tady ještě v tuto chvíli samozřejmě čekají, jestli se Michael Jackson opět neobjeví. Jackson má ze svého prezidentského apartmána na druhou stranu výhled přímo na Letnou, kde stával Stalinův pomník. Tam je v této chvíli 10metrová socha Michaela.
de copii la București a aterizat totuși la ora 12:36. În afară de miile de fani prezenți, Michael Jackson a fost întâmplat.
Miközben Jackson bent vásárolt, addig többen elájultak, abban a reményben, hogy akkor talán közelebb kerülhetnek álmaik énekeséhez. De a testvéröknek nem volt könnyű feladat visszaszorítani a nagy tömeget. Minden rendben is ment, mindaddig.
To see you performing in our Olympic Stadium. So would you like to tell them something?
Hello to the people of Tunisia. I'm coming to see you, inshallah, the 7th of October. I cannot wait. I love you all so much.
Another landing, another airport, on a tour that's taking Michael Jackson well off the beaten concert track. But nothing unfamiliar about his welcome.
Michael Jackson is great. I thank you very much for the alternative you have done to our country.
We are very proud that he's here, okay?
He was in the country's capital for his first show in Africa and the Arab world, a typical Jackson extravaganza, to be held in the city's Olympic-style stadium before an audience of 60,000.
24 hours after the show, what are your feelings?
I love the people of Tunisia very, very much.
Got surprising news that the King of Pop was looking forward to having a son with his friend of 15 years, Deborah Rowe. He was causing a stir in Bangkok, Thailand, while traveling on his Michael Jackson, the King of Pop's History World Tour. When Michael arrived at the airport in Bangkok, it was the 19th stop of his tour, and he had a message for the media.
Make it positive.
And there was quite a circus waiting for Michael at the hotel. Children dressed in traditional Thai costumes, as well as an elephant, were on hand to greet the King of Pop.
Do you ever get used to that many people? I mean, every time you walk out of the hotel, it's incredible.
Never get used to it. I don't know what to say.
From the royal suite to the royal wave, the King of Pop made his first public Kiwi appearance.
Michael Jackson's just come out onto the deck here at the Carlton Hotel, and for some fans it's just too much.
from another planet. He's not human. He's too magnificent to be human. He's sent from God for us.
Welcome to the world of Michael Jackson.
Why doesn't he come and see us? It's the worst day of my life.
No, it's not the end of the world. These girls are crying because they found out their idol Michael Jackson married his nurse barely an hour after stepping off stage last night.
It's over. Everything's over. And if it is over, my life is over.
By the time he returned to his hotel, speculation about when and where the King of Pop was going to exchange his marriage vows had reached fever pitch.
Michael, is there true plan on getting married? Are you getting married?
Within hours, his Los Angeles-based publicist confirmed Michael Jackson had tied the knot with 38-year-old mother-to-be Debbie Rowe.
All we know is that Jacko met his new bride, Debbie Rowe, 15 years ago in his plastic surgeon's office. She's 6 months pregnant, and he's denied reports they used artificial insemination, or that he paid her over $500,000 to carry his baby.
How you doing, Michael? How does it feel to be married, Michael?
You must be very happy.
Is it a happy day for you? Are you very pleased? How's your wife?
Jackson simply refused to comment on his marriage. The shrug of the shoulders again leaving some doubt about the wedding.
Lovely.
He spent an hour playing with the natives.
Michael.
Then late tonight he arrived at the cinema and was greeted by thousands of fans for the screening of his film, Ghosts. The film is a collection of video wizardry with Jackson making all the right moves. The latest rumour is the newlyweds will make their first public appearance at the start of the Melbourne leg of his history tour.
Being the King of Pop and the biggest recording star in the world, what is your philosophy of staying at the top?
Well, I think being humble and believing in yourself and having true love in your heart for the world, and really trying to help people through lyrics and the love of music and dance, because I truly do love people very much.
Pandemonium broke loose when Michael Jackson emerged from his chartered 707 jet in Honolulu. A small but noisy crowd rushed past security up to the plane, where a subdued Michael accepted leis from his youngest admirers. The concerts Friday and Saturday nights mark the end of a 4-month world tour, and they're the biggest concerts in Hawaii history. Whether you're a fan or someone who can't understand what all the fuss is about, no one can deny Michael Jackson's ability to generate excitement wherever he goes.
A slow-motion stampede through the stadium gates began at 5:30, and it was non-stop for several hours.
I came here on last night. I've been here for 5:30 in line, standing in line.
It's worth it. More than worth it.
You got a sore throat, Michael, yeah? You happy to be here? Any message for your fans?
Okay, just leave it at that.
Con una dichiarazione spontanea, sentiamola.
First, I would like to apologize for not coming to court earlier. And secondly, I would like to apologize.
In primo luogo mi scuso per non essere venuto prima e poi per qualunque disturbo che posso aver arrecato.
I'm an entertainer,
Sono un cantante e un ballerino e faccio il mestiere dell'intrattenitore e del cantautore.
songwriter, and dancer.
The world
you, Lord.
Pop, his time might be consumed by bottle warmings and diaper changings, but Michael Jackson has found time to learn a few new dance moves. The man who once only wore black is raging in red for his dazzling new music video.
Un service de sécurité tatillon qui, paradoxalement, ne fouille pas les invités.
Blood in the dance floor, signore e signori, Michael Jackson!
I'm happy they're standing behind me. I know that they have a lot to say. And Michael, I don't see these guys that much. I'm so happy to look back and see their faces.
And I say thank you very much. Now we are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Say that again.
Yeah.
Say that again. Where the where?
What? Where are we? Oh, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Thank you for the same ambition, and we did it. We worked hard, but we got it. And I want to thank everybody for this.
Michael Jackson, le coffret de Noël, réunissant la cassette vidéo du film Ghost pour la première fois disponible à la vente. Le programme du film Ghost, le CD 3 titres inédits, plus le CD album Blood on the Dance Floor. Michael Jackson, le coffret de Noël, faites plaisir, faites-vous plaisir.
L'amoureux des gamins digitales, qui est amené jusqu'à transformer Michael Jackson en plusieurs personnages différents.
Michael Jackson, Blood on the Dance Floor, the best dance album in history. Blood on the Dance Floor, 13 tracks, 76 minutes of music, 8 historical remixes. Blood on the Dance Floor, the album, now.
Power from the King of Pop. Fresh, cool, magic, mystery isotonic drink, and mystery collector magazine. Get it now.
Bring you the future.
Don't try this at home.
Sealed for real. MTV Tour presents Michael Jackson's European Tour.
Kommt es zu einem spektakulären Zwischenfall vor dem Hotel.
Ici
wurden die Stadiontore geöffnet. Warten auf die vorderen Plätze ist für die Pappen-Fans der wichtigste Augenblick. Wo wer am Blumengraben steht, hat den besten Blick auf den Megastar. Aus der Arena exklusiv für das Vorbohren-Jacko-Fest. Zum Jahresende wird das Werk veröffentlicht mit einer Startauflage von 6 Millionen Stück.
Now I want to give you Blood on the Dance Floor. Ho!
Perhaps Neverland, but Michael Jackson couldn't have appeared more at home in this German theme park. An appropriately named ride for the singer whose fame shows little sign of dwindling. The usual turnout of hysterical fans desperate to join the select few aboard the train. This particular ride somewhat tamer than the rocky road he's travelled on in recent years. But for Jacko, there always appears to be light at the end of the tunnel. Over, it was time for Michael to get down to the real work of signing autographs. But he was quick to leave. He has a lot of ground still to cover as his grueling European tour rolls on.
While 73,000 eager fans waited out front at London's Wembley Stadium, we were backstage capturing some very rare moments on camera. The former Mrs. Jackson, Lisa Marie Presley, was in Britain visiting him, and we found her backstage in Michael's dressing room before his performance.
When pop star Michael Jackson was seen out and about with a beautiful woman. Now, we don't know if his wife, Deborah Rowe, who's in Paris with their little boy, knew about this, but yes, that is the king of pop with his former queen, his ex-wife, Lisa Marie Presley. Jackson, who was in London for a series of concerts, and Lisa Marie were spotted hand in hand just outside the hotel where apparently they've been staying. This is the first time that they have been photographed together since they were divorced in January of last year.
Could Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley actually be getting back together? What about the second baby Michael was planning to have with his current wife, Debbie Rowe?
Flew her in a party of 7 over on the Concorde, and yes, Debbie did go home before Lisa got there. Somebody said they passed each other in the sky and cracked up laughing.
What do you think is going on? Do you think that he's in the process of dumping Debbie and going back to Lisa Marie?
Yeah, I hate to just come out and say that, but I will say that Lisa Marie really regrets that she ever filed for divorce from Michael, because she really loves him a lot.
How come then Michael didn't have a child, if he wanted a child so badly with Debbie Rowe, how come he didn't have a child with Lisa Marie?
I don't really think that Lisa Marie would want any more children. I see, she's already got 2.
Right.
I do know that when she found out Debbie was pregnant, at that time she and Michael had been spending hours and hours and hours on the telephone together, and she thought they were getting back together then.
That I've got family all over the world, everywhere I go, because my fans really show me the love, and I love them just as much.
Normal programming has been suspended, and we now join Martin Lewis in the news studio.
This is BBC Television from London. Diana, Princess of Wales, has died after a car crash in Paris. The French government announced her death just before 5 o'clock this morning.
At the tunnel by the Pont d'Alma, Parisians and tourists alike came in droves. Some came simply to stare,
but most came in a sort of spontaneous pilgrimage to the road where Princess Diana's car crashed and killed her.
Michael Jackson was among hundreds of mourners in Los Angeles this weekend at a memorial service for Princess Diana.
In honor of my friend who is no longer here. Thank you. I love her.
Those tributes and the shock expressed here are but one sign of the impact Princess Diana had outside Britain, in itself a fitting tribute to the woman who during the past 16 years had made herself a unique worldwide celebrity.
But on my way home from covering Princess Diana's funeral, I met with him in Paris to discuss the paparazzi and his personal recollections of the princess. When it comes to the paparazzi, Michael Jackson says he feels a bond with Princess Diana. How did you hear about her death?
I woke up and my doctor gave me the news. And I fell back down in grief and I started to cry. Then on top of that one, I said, there's another one. Real soon, I feel it coming. There's another one. It's another one coming, and I pray it's not me. Please don't let it be me. Then Mother Teresa came.
Are you psychic? Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to say that, but I've done it before. I've been running for my life like that, hiding, getting away. You can't go that way because they're over there. And well, let's go this way. Pretend we're going that way, and we'll go that way.
Did you ever try to outrace the paparazzi?
To outrace them?
Yes.
They follow you. They chase us on the scooters.
Cutting in front of you?
Yeah, and I have to say to the driver, I say, slow down. I jump in. I said, it's going to kill us. I say, slow down.
You can't invite them in again and again, and then at a certain point, close them out.
Yes, you can.
Well, how do you do that? What is that line?
You should not say he's an animal. Should not say he's Jacko. I'm not a Jacko. I'm Jackson. I have a heart and I have feelings. I feel that when you do that to me. It's not nice. Don't do it. I'm not a wacko.
Michael and wife Debbie Rowe Jackson are expecting a little girl.
Debbie Rowe talking about the tabloids. I met the Jackson family this weekend at their ranch at Neverland, and I asked Debbie Rowe to once again set the record straight. The tabloids have characterized her as a joke or a freak for having Michael's son.
It's very hurtful, even if it's a lie.
Then there are the stories about Michael having an affair with his ex-wife, Lisa Marie Presley. Like the weekend, they appeared together in South Africa.
And then I also heard that same weekend that Michael had married Lisa in Johannesburg. So I waited for him to call me that night, and I said, oh, congratulations. And he said, for what? I said, you and Lisa got married. I said, it's wonderful. I said, wait a minute. I said, that means you have two wives. My friendship with him is the most important thing to me. And if this marriage gets in the way of that friendship, then we'll put the marriage aside, but I want to go on as friends. That's more important to me than anything else, especially with having kids.
Just in case you're wondering, the new addition to the Jackson family will be named Paris Michael Catherine.
So little Prince is going to have a sister.
Yes.
How about after that?
Let's see. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'm getting old. I hope so. I hope we have a lot of kids together. He's such a great dad.
Elusive photos of Michael and Lisa Marie out on the town Saturday night.
Instead of some secret rendezvous or ducking for cover when flashbulbs pop, Jacko, his ex-wife, and an extra-large bodyguard dined at the posh Ivy in Beverly Hills.
When they walked out, they held hands and they went window shopping down the street to make sure everybody saw them. Obviously, Michael wanted to be photographed with Lisa Marie. It's a good thing for his career.
Jackson's wine and dine photo op with Lisa Marie has Hollywood insiders asking one question. Hey, Michael, where's your wife? Where's his wife? Well, Debbie Rowe is presumably at home minding little Prince and preparing to have baby number 2, a little girl named Paris, who's due around the end of April.
In der Loge angekommen, befreit Jackson seinen Junior aus der Vermummung und präsentiert ihn seinem Hofstaat. So viel Hingabe wird belohnt, ab und zu. Der Monarch kommuniziert mit seiner Gefolgschaft.
In 1985, I joined with many others in the music industry to create We Are the World. Following that experience, it was my dream to create a worldwide series of concerts which would raise funds to bring aid to suffering people around the globe. Today, with the help of many friends, we are taking the first steps toward realizing that dream.
Joining African leaders in calling for debt relief, he knew that images of him in Namibia would help bring attention to the plight of thousands of people living in dire conditions in African slums.
There must be a global resolve that the 21st century will bring about caring and protection of our children. My new business partner, Mr. Dunbarton, and myself are going to put our money where our mouths are. That will bring economic empowerment to people, that will ultimately benefit and enrich the lives of children. We are all touched by the atrocities committed against children. Sexual and physical abuse, child slave labor, forced homelessness, educational neglect. We feel ashamed, angry, appalled.
Janet reveals that Mother Nature brought them together for the first time in 2 years. When did that happen?
It happened during El Nino.
Interesting timing.
I know, right? I had to get out of Malibu, and I ran to the hotel, and there he was.
There he was with his 1-year-old son, Prince, whom Janet had never met. That must have been wonderful to finally see the baby and to see Michael.
Yeah, it was. It was very nice. And he's beautiful. He's such a sweetheart, and became so attached like that to me. And I went to put him down. He's crying like crazy. He's reaching out for me. He didn't want me to let him go.
Michael is in Motown for meetings with business partner Don Barton, and it sounds like they are brainstorming for a theme park that could land in the Motor City. Jackson arrived to a superstar welcome this evening at Metro. Lots of fans were there to greet him, but they had to settle for a distant glimpse.
After so much anticipation, fans finally got a chance to see Michael Jackson return to Motown, and the excitement seemed to be bouncing off the wall. Just to get a glimpse of him entering the Westin Hotel in downtown Detroit, fans say, is the thriller of all thrills.
We've waited a long time, like 9 months, to see him again, and to be able to see him in person, I have said, much to the dismay of my husband, that I will be breathing the same air he is, and that is like an unbelievable high.
But Michael Jackson didn't stay put long. About an hour later, Michael and the Barton family went on a little shopping trip. At Northland Mall, fans lined up to see Michael as he was hustled into the Sam Goody record store. Inside the store, he checked out the latest CDs with one of his newest friends, Barton's 7-year-old daughter.
It's a strange feeling, but I have experience at it now. In Africa, there were 150,000 people that walked 30, 40, 50 miles to stand on the side of the road to see us pass by at 50, 60 miles an hour.
And tomorrow, Don Barton will join Jackson at a 1 o'clock press conference here at the Westin.
Will music play a part of it?
Yes, of course.
And what sorts of themes beyond Planet Hollywood?
Say something for tomorrow, Michael.
we better wait. Yes, it's beyond.
Arrived in Michigan for the announcement of a huge entertainment complex he wants to build with his partner.
My mission is to just push the envelope of technology beyond its limitation in creating some of the most wonderful themes that's humanly possible.
Don't push, please.
I have joined forces with Prosperity Enterprises Corporation to develop a number of global family-oriented, entertainment-driven themed attractions in Japan. It's blinded me now. This is going to be a one-of-a-kind theme park, and it will include a golf course, condominiums, and other leisure facilities.
Mr. Michael Jackson.
And I know that it is love, brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, then there's no need. For you and for me and the entire
airplane. And you sit on it. You ride it, Prince. Where is he? He rides it. He has a steering wheel.
Look at this. Look what I got cutting. You want to say what you have for breakfast? What did you have? You had some breakfast?
Yeah.
What did you have?
Der König der Popmusik. Hier ist the King of Pop. Hier ist Michael Jackson.
Okay, just tell us.
I knew that I had to do something. I just
spürte, dass ich einfach etwas tun musste.
You are the champion. You're going to be here.
I shall be undertaking 2 concerts in June, one in Seoul in the Republic of Korea and one in Munich. For the needy children in North Korea and in Kosovo, Africa, and everywhere else in the world. To help these children is not charity, it is our duty. I know this concert will be a success. I will see you all in June. I love you very much and thank you.
You know, I know nothing about sports, and Mr. Muhammad Fayyad taught me so much. I mean, I enjoyed myself so much at Fulham. I'm a fan. I'm addicted already, so you'll be seeing me more often at the games. When I heard them scream, I went to stand up and start dancing because I'm used to hearing people scream when I perform. I would love to live in London because I love it so much. It's just the press is so hard on me here, and I try to do so good. I go to their hospital, I give presents to the children. As soon as I leave, the next day they go, Wacko Jacko left the hospital and he ignored all the children, and it hurt my heart.
Please welcome the phenomenal Michael Jackson!
I've always believed that the real measure of celebrity success was not just how famous he becomes, but what he does with that fame and fortune.
Yeah, I wrote a song, What More Can I Give? That I want to put all the stars together, and if I could do it here in Britain, it would be great. Maybe I should do it in Britain. I think you should. It's called What More Can I Give? I wrote it, and I want to give the proceeds to the families of Yugoslavia. I'm right in the middle of the album. I'm halfway through, and it's just I'm putting everything I have into it. I'm putting my heart into it because I'm not sure if I'm going to really do it again.
Hopefully in the future, I'm concentrating on a lot of movies, and right now I'm thinking on the album and my brothers. I'm doing a reunion with my brothers, an album. I'm doing 3 cuts for them and 3 cuts for 3 teams.
Seinen Sohn. Der kleine Prince Michael leidet an einer Virusinfektion mit hohem Fieber. Die Krankheit verlief bisher dramatisch. Von seiner Mutter Debbie Rowe.
Spoken to his father?
Michael hat mir erzählt, dass sich wieder erholt.
In South Korea. We took you inside the sea of screaming fans yesterday as Michael arrived in Seoul. Well, today he is back on the streets, armed with bodyguards and without his children. South Korea is Wacko for Jacko. With men in black and uniformed motorcycle escorts shadowing his every move, Michael Jackson has been mobbed by fans since his arrival in Seoul. As we showed you yesterday, there was near pandemonium at the airport where cameras caught a glimpse of his 2 children, whose faces were shielded by blankets. And it's more of the same today as the King of Pop steps off a bus to make his way into a Tower Records store. Fans are kept outside during Jackson's visit while they await the next not-so-close encounter. Children from a local orphanage board his bus ahead of him. And after a decoy rushes past the crowd, Jackson himself emerges to head for the ride to a local amusement park. And once again, Jackson is surrounded by heavy security as he waves and blows kisses to the throngs of fans. And later he poses for pictures and is serenaded by a group of children. Jackson will perform in Seoul on Friday night at a benefit concert for the world's needy children.
You make me feel like...
Während der Show kam es aber fast zu einer Katastrophe, als ein Bühnenstück mit Michael abstürzte. Er verletzt an den Knien und am Ellenbogen.
Direkt nach der Show wurde Jackson im Konvoi in eine Münchner Krankenklinik bereits heute Morgen wieder verlassen.
Guy's a real artist, Johnny, and the dance floor is his canvas.
Looks like Michael Jackson is breaking out the crotch trance early.
Who are you trying to fool, Michael? You stole that move from me.
That's a lie, Madonna,
And you know it. Oh, yeah. You want to see crotch grabbing?
Nate, this is one of the most bizarre displays I have ever seen in our ring. It appears to be some kind of crotch-grabbing Mexican standoff.
I always try to be a pioneer and an innovator in whatever I do. And my dream was to always make, short little films.
When you finished it, did you realize just what you'd accomplished?
When I was in the editing room, I knew I liked it. I enjoyed it. It has to be satisfying for me. And I enjoyed what I had seen when we finished it. So I was happy with it. Never totally satisfied, but I was happy.
At the star-stuffed finale, there was one final surprise guest, and there's a clue in the song. Yes, it's Michael Jackson, who had been expected to do a couple of tracks from his upcoming album, but the gloved one had laryngitis.
I love you all, and you all have been phenomenal, and the best is yet to come. Merry Christmas. Good night.